Hello and welcome to another episode of the Recon Jeep Mods. Today we're going to talk about steering setup on the Dana 30 front axle. We're going to show you how to set up an over-the-knuckle steering linkage with a one-piece tie rod and 1-ton ends. I'm going to show you how to ream the knuckles. I'm going to show you how to install them, and this applies to either if it's a XJ or a TJ, YJ or ZJ. So there are kits to buy out there, but this is a do-it-yourself episode. So stay tuned after the intro. The stock steering setup on the Dana 30 is under the knuckle, Y-designed steering. Quite thin, not so beef, and also the ground clearance is not super good since it's under the knuckle. With the new design I made, I'm using 1-ton ends and a much bigger and thicker tube. And the most important, or the two most important things is, I'm gonna make it over the knuckle to sit from the top instead. And it's also a one-piece one. So my drag link from the steering box will sit in this hole and go up instead of this two-piece style. And as you can see, there's a big difference in ground clearance, and also a big difference in the size of the ends. So here's the stock size, like that, and here's the 1-ton ones. As you can see, it's much bigger. And this part is also thicker, so that's why we need to ream the knuckles. Yeah, you can see it's a big difference there. The stock knuckles are reamed from underneath, so the ends is inserted from underneath the knuckle. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it from the top instead. And when you're using the 1-ton ends, they are bigger in diameter over here. So you have material in the knuckle that you can ream. And as you can see, this cone has the same cone as the 1-ton ends, and this can be found on eBay or from Advanced Mechanics here in Sweden as well. And the first I did was to measure the very end of the cone on the 1-ton ends, and it was approx 16 or 17 millimeters. So I used a 15 millimeter drill to have a bit of a safety margin, and I drilled the knuckles before I start to work with the reamer, because the reamer is a bit sensitive to work with, so you need to be very careful and not to apply a lot of force pushing it down. So let it work slowly, because there's a lot of material to remove. And also don't work too long with it, because it's very easy to get the hole reamed to a bigger diameter than this one. So the hole will be too big, and you will hit the part around here on the ends. So ream a little bit, stop ream, insert the wonton end and make sure that it doesn't bottom out, and you do not want to have this end sticking out on the other side on the knuckle, because then the nut will not clamp on the knuckle. So yeah, just be careful, take a little bit of the time. I'm gonna show you that I stop ream and I insert the wonton end a couple of times, and I work slowly, and it will work just fine. The knuckles are now reamed, and as you can see, there's a lot of material in the tube, and this will not bend in the first time. And when you have reamed everything, you can start to insert it in the knuckles and take the measurements for the tube length. And then you of course need to take the axle back to the ground again, and since I'm often alone in the garage and I don't have a lift, yeah, it looks like this. Hopefully my back is all fine, I'm not sure, but I don't have any pain, so look at this. I'm so close to the hood. I mean, that's just a couple of millimeters, but didn't scratch it. And come on, get down there on the ground, and boom, yeah, all fine. As you can see, there's a great increase in ground clearance, and I also installed the drag link from the steering box, and I measured it twice and cut once, and it looks quite nice. Now this axle is stretched about 2.5–3 inches towards the front, and as you can see, yeah, it looks fine. Another thing to remember when you're using the 1-ton ends is that you don't have so much clearance between the rim and the end. You can just get a finger in here like that, but probably with this is 15-inch steel rims, but with 15-inch aluminum rims you will probably have some problem in interference against the rim. So I think you need to have steel rims, and they need to be a lot of offset towards out of the car, because it's, yeah, there's not much room in here. It's better on this side because that one, the housing on that end is a little bit smaller, so better clearance. And yeah, another thing is, now that I have moved the spring purchase back so it's centered above the axle tube instead of being positioned a bit in front, I can use a straight tie rod, and it will not interfere with any of the brackets. But if you're using the stock brackets and you're using a straight tie rod, it will most likely interfere with the brackets. So if you're having the stock brackets and you want a straight tie rod, I think you would need to have a small bend on tie rod on both sides. So when the wheels are fully steered lock to lock in right to left, it will still clear the brackets. But in my case, I can have a completely straight tie rod, and that's quite nice. One problem that can occur with this type of steering is when the force from the steering box is pushing down here, this end will twist like this. I mean, when it's steering back in that direction, it might rotate like that, so you get like a sloppy feeling in the steering wheel, like it's a little bit dead around the center. But some people get that problem, some people don't. So we will see how it works when I get this one out of the garage and take it for the first spin. But there are some ideas, there are some kits. I think it's called like the Cure. I think that is it with instead of using rubber boot, use like a Delrin or a stiffer plastic one. So it will still be able to rotate a little bit here due to the angle difference when you're steering the knuckle. But it will take care of, like, yeah, the rotation when you're pushing or pulling the steering. We will see. If I get a problem, I will make a new video and show you how to solve it. And as you can see right now, this is 3.5 inch lift, and this is the static ride height. I measured how long the spring is at the ride height. So the angle on the drag link is quite nice. It's not that steep that you often get when you raise the vehicle, and this is due to that I've used the over the knuckle steering setup, because normally the steering is down here somewhere. It's a better angle, and it's not a dropped Pitman arm, it's still a stock Pitman arm. So now that I'm gonna weld on the Panhard bracket, I need to make sure that the Panhard link is the same, has the same angle and the same length as the drag link. But that will be also another episode. I'm gonna show you that later. And this episode was mostly about just how to ream the knuckles and how to fit the 1-ton ends and what to think about. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you have a better picture about over the knuckle steering setup and 1-ton ends and stuff like that, how to ream. If you have any questions, just comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. See you next time. Thanks.